What was the inspiration for your new song, Fire?
To be honest, it just kind of that song just came out of nowhere. It really, because the goal for this is kind of sync for film and TV and stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and so I think it was really just started with the vocal sample and adding the drums, and that was just the first thing that came to my mind. Um, and it was just something to have fun. I feel like that's a thing that is missing in music is just songs that just have fun, that are just like, hey, they're just gonna have a good time, like just let's just have a good time for these 3 minutes. Forget what's going on. Let's just have a good time and listen to the song. So it was kind of the whole thing. It was done really quick. Um, and it was just fun. Like when people listen to it, they're just, oh, this is dope.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. It seems like either music is super conscious and you have to like dissect the lyrics, or it's like the extreme opposite of like murder raps and like
Or yeah, or just like
upbeat.
sad, or
Yeah, or
or
sad.
sometimes people want to be like super artsy fartsy and
Mm.
like do all this stuff, and it's like, man, can we just dance and just have fun and just have a good time?
Yeah, yeah, totally. And how does that maybe tap into your heritage of like, did you grow up listening to music, dancing with
For
family?
sure. I mean, I think for me, like the purpose of music is to dance. Like I just I've never seen people that like listen to music and don't dance or bob their head or move their toes or whatever. Like I think that's a real big point in my music is I want to make you feel something. And a lot of times that is to dance, like from the roots of Puerto Rican music, from salsa, but then even going back to like the traditional African influence of like bomba and plena and all this stuff. It's a big thing. Like, the music and the dancing went hand in hand. They would play the music and the dancing created, they were giving you a message. Um, and so yeah, I think that's a very big part of my music and a huge influence, is combining the two of the rhythm and being able to feel something that makes you want to move, want to, feel something in your soul to just have a good time or listen to it, to get away from the norm, and just take you somewhere.
Totally. I know some of my favorite memories. My brother is super stoic and like serious, but we listen to like Lil Wayne in the car going to high school. And when he'd like bump his head, I'd be like, yes,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
everyone feels it at
Yeah,
some
for
point.
sure.
And you kind of mentioned like touching the soul. And I know you've worked in Christian hip hop, winning the Four Dove Awards. And
Hmm.
now your brand is going a little more just neutral, but what is still that mission to inspire, like to still just touch people on a deeper level?
Yeah, I think for me, it's more where I'm at now is just being a light in the darkness, and just kind of like, hey, this is who I am. I don't have to change who I am, or force myself to be something. This is just who you're getting, and this is the music I make. My personal life, I love Jesus, and I will never shy away from that. But at the same time, I feel like I don't have to make a song that has 6 point, presentation of the gospel and all that stuff. Like I really let God handle that, and He puts me in the situations where I could just be myself, and you see God moving in my life through what I've done or the way I just walk or just talk or whatever. And so I think now just being able to like, hey, like we can make really fun music, that everyone can enjoy without being explicit or talk about violence or anything like that. And the fact that this music is also doing that and being put into film and ads and commercials and TV and stuff, that just takes it to a whole nother level of like, hey, this dude did this without having to sacrifice his beliefs or what he believes in or have to, force himself to do something that he doesn't want to.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. I can relate too. Like, I think just, I know I'm a Christian, but like being able to, I love all different types of art forms and different things, and
Yeah.
just being able to express that is,
Yeah, absolutely.
we just have to be ourselves, right? So,
Right. That's
yeah.
the biggest thing. I just want to be myself. That's the whole like behind the brand, like El Gordito Lindo, which translates to the cute chubby guy. That's literally the translation. It's like it's funny. The first thing every time I hear it, they laugh, they chuckle, but then it's also like from a cultural perspective, like that's something that their parents have been calling kids forever. Like when they're little babies, they're little chunky things. It's like el gordito. Like even it's a term of endearment. Even if you're skinny in Puerto Rico, they're like yo gordo. That's just a term of endearment. And
Hmm.
I just wanted to put that as my brand and be like, yo, Gordito Lindo, and it's fun. But it's also like not being afraid of who I am, and just having fun. The whole purpose of this is to have fun. There's so many times in the industry where everything is so serious, or you kind of feel the pressure of every time you like work with an artist. It has to sound like this, or we need a number one, or we have to, this song needs to do well in streams. And I just kind of like that's cool. I understand that, but I can we have fun first? Can fun be the focus? And then once we have fun, usually all of that follows.
Hmm. Yeah, people want to have fun. So, like, yeah, yeah. And has maybe going down at the sync path also helped with that embracing the like taking off that pressure of, oh, we need all these streams, or like I'm sure there's a different pressure with syncs too.
Being in sync gives me a little bit more musical freedom.
Hmm.
And also the fact that kind of venturing into the space that's kind of uncharted that no one has really been in, tapping into like the Latin side, there's there isn't really anybody that's doing like, oh, this is the sync guy for Latin music. There's obviously there's people doing it, but there's not like a face or a main person of like this is the person, right? And so with that, I feel like I've been able to be free and try certain things and like see what works, see what doesn't work. Um, and as a musician, it's just been great because I just can create, and there's no one saying like, oh, you can't do that. I don't think that's gonna work because it's just me,
Hmm.
right? So it's just so it that's great of like, hey, I'm just gonna try this, and then if it works, cool. If it doesn't, then we go back to the drawing board. Um, but I think just having that freedom musically to just create, and then obviously like there's certain things that you have to have for it to be placed in like film and TV. Those are kind of like the non-negotiables. But once you meet those parameters, you're kind of free to do whatever you want, as long as it's like it meets that, you're good, And so finding that freedom in that and kind of being able to embrace my culture has been really fun and just freeing to just have fun and create.
I know you're a family man too. How does your kids and just having a family maybe help you keep stay tapped into that fun?
I have a 7-year old. He's turning 8 this year.
Okay.
Isaiah, and he's always keeping me on my toes. And the funny thing is, like, all the music we listen to is Disney and all
Hmm.
the soundtracks and the movies, and any we got it. Any song you mentioned, we got it on the playlist. And so I used to dread it because it's like, but then listening to that, I started like listening as a musician, and I'm like, oh, they're actually like doing some really complicated, like really cool stuff. And with that, I've been able to put that kind of take some of those elements and put that into my own music. Um, and I can always tell because if Isaiah likes it, if a kid enjoys it and wants to dance, you got something there, right? When you have when it's simple enough for a child to understand and just have fun and dance to it, we got something. So he's my little guinea pig of like I'll just play it and he's like, turn it off, Dad. I'm like, all right, well that's not it, you know. And I'll play something. He's like, oh, and he'll like sing it back, and I'm like, yep, we got something. And yeah, and I think just me being doing this, I've been able to get closer, you know, just be home and work. I don't have to travel. I don't have to do all that stuff. So it's been great. It really has.
So is your Spotify wrapped all kids songs? Like,
Oh, I don't even post it anymore
don't
because
even.
it's just like it's a mess. It's
Yeah.
like you listen to Encanto soundtrack 2 million times. Like yeah,
Like I
you
already
know,
know. Well, that's
yeah,
fun. That's fun. Yeah, there's nothing like just tapping into that spirit of a child and like it's the purest critic, the purest appreciator.
absolutely.
And yeah, I know you're signing with a label and in partnership with RMG. I guess two-part question. Why did label make sense? And then why is it important to you to continue with RMG as well, who's helped you to get to this point of your career?
Yeah, I would say RMG is family. I wouldn't be the position that I'm in now if it wasn't for RMG. There was a time where RMG solely was keeping me afloat financially as an up and coming producer. And just with being with Doc as my manager, like he has blessed my life in so many different ways. Just teaching me the business, you know, not just being the typical manager of like, oh, I'll do this, but like saying, hey, let's sit down. I'm going to show you what's going on. The reason why you're not making money is because none of your songs are registered and you need to like learn about publishing and administering that publishing and how to get registered and all of that and how to, you know, keep keep on top of your royalties and how to track of that and so I owe him everything because he actually took the time to teach me to be a better businessman. Um, and then with label, it kind of just made sense to you know for me if I'm trying to be serious in the sync world, I just need to open more doors and get in there and with sync with a label, they've kind of already have that name in the sync world. And it just made sense. We talked with the with Deshaun and Chris, and it just everything just made sense. Um, and we made a few songs, and it's like, hey, this is great. Let's keep it going. And so that now we're putting out the music, and so I'm excited for this year what's going to happen. They really believe in the music. They're really excited about it. It's not just like a hey, just turn on the songs and then we're good. Like they really have they listen to it, they feel like they have input that can make the song better. They tell me, you know, they're not just like, "Oh yeah, just turn it in whatever." Like they really care about the product. So, um yeah, it's been great and I'm just really excited to see where the music lands, what it does and where we go from there.
It seems like a really organic partnership. And shout out Doc, like he's helped me so much too. Like
Absolutely.
he is the biggest heart. I know so many people have stories on stories of,
That man, yeah. That
yeah,
man has changed lives for sure.
yeah,
He
yeah.
definitely did. He definitely changed mine for sure. So,
Where do you see the future of Latin music? It's grown so much, it's continuing to grow. Where do you see it going from here?
man, I really feel I keep talking about sync. But I feel like that is the one element that's missing. Um to really like make it's already Latin music is already huge and global. But I feel like if we tap in just a little more into the sync space, I think it's gonna be something on a whole other level because you look at hip hop. Hip hop really like it hip hop is a normal thing now. 20 years ago it wasn't. But now you see it, you hear the music in film, you hear it on commercials, you hear it on ads, you hear it everywhere, and it's just a normal thing, right? Where versus Latin music, though it is everywhere now, it's not as your everyday thing. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
you'll hear like if you'll hear
outside, like,
you'll yeah you'll be walking down the road and a commercial will play. Oh, it's like a hip hop song or a hip hop thing in the background or a movie and they use some Jay-Z song in the trailer. It's a common thing. And I think um that is like the missing element to make Latin music not just a novelty. I think people still talk about Latin music as a novelty of like, oh, it's Latin music versus just music, and the style is country or the style is hip hop or the style is whatever or rock or whatever. But with Latin music, it's still because, and obviously it's in a different language. I understand that, but it's still this like new thing, this export or import thing of like it's not common.
mm. And it's
But
otherized kind of too still, like,
right, right.
mm,
And so I think having that element is just because everyone watches TV, everyone, consumes content, whether it's ads or on online or whatever streaming, that stuff like that is a part of our daily lives. So that's why I feel like the Latin music getting into sync and it being more prominent, I feel like that's going to have a direct impact in the industry as a whole. Um, so we'll see what happens.
yeah, it'll be fun to see where it grows and gets to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great. Was there anything else that you would like to share with the people or make sure we cover?
I think that's it. I think that's it. Just stay tuned for the new music and I'm just excited and thankful for everything that's going on.